Alright, so 18 to 1900 degrees in there.
See that glow? That's expensive. Oh! Oh!
So,
Beautiful!
I take the pots out with tongs, and I drop them into this sawdust, this can with sawdust in it.
Is this the color they're going to be after you?
This is where they start off, and they end up in here.
Oh, it's glowing red.
But are the colors? As the colors that you see in there?
Well, actually, these colors will actually change because of the atmosphere inside this kiln. So this green will crackle, and it will also get some flashing in it, copper colors.
How are you doing that?
Well,
temperature change.
right, the glaze is actually molten when I pull them out of here. So if I blow on them, it cools and it breaks and it cracks. You can only crack the pot. This is actually a matte glaze that will flash different copper colors. And this is a little sculpture that I did that I hope won't fall apart. Now everything that doesn't have glaze on it will turn black. Now I want to close the lid to get it to smolder. And that's what causes the color change in the glazes. It's actually what we refer to as reduction. And the technical version of it is because there's no oxygen in the can, because I put the lid on it. The fire is searching for oxygen, it chemically pulls oxygen molecules out of the glaze and causes flashing like this. The copper colors from blues to red to, I mean, just the whole rainbow. Now, it's a very old technique, about the 16th century in Japan when it started. And the emperor wanted a quick way and sort of a loose, spontaneous way to fire the work. Normally it would take him, or his artisans, weeks, if not months, to have a tea bowl set for their ceremony. So he discovered that a Korean potter, some of these I refire because I'm not happy with them. A Korean potter found a way to do it very quickly. It's a very sort of instant gratification. So the Japanese emperor actually kidnapped the father and son and used their technique, which is still in use today for Buddhist tea ceremonies. Now it became Americanized in the 1950s. The Japanese version is you fire them in the kiln, you put them on the ground, and they cool, and then you use them. The American version is the combustion chamber, the reduction chamber. Now the reduction chamber came about in the early 50s when Paul Soldner discovered that when he pulled the pots out, he had a pepper tree in his backyard, and they had big leaves. And some of them fell over and rolled in the leaves. And he realized that when these pots rolled in the leaves, all the glazes that had either iron or copper or cobalt would flash all those brilliant colors. So that's the American version. It's the Americanized raku. And that's what I'm doing here. And it's much more interesting than the other version, I have to tell you. But it's also, like I said, an instant gratification. I can throw a pot, or 50 or 60 pots, and I have to spend 24 hours firing a kiln to get a finished product. That's just the glaze firing. Here, 20 minutes later, I have a finished piece. Now, the Japanese do use these in tea ceremonies, little bowls with glaze in them. They usually use them once, and then they put them in a display case. These pieces actually are not functional pieces. They're decorative pieces. So, if you were to put water in these, it's eventually going to seep out onto your mantle or wherever you have them sitting. So they're really for decoration or for dried things. I have not used any of my tea bowls to drink out of. I don't have any versions of them here, but the raku versions. I do have high fire versions on the table over there. But it really is a very instant gratification, and it's a lot of fun for people to watch and to create. And if you guys want some hot chocolate, there's some on the table over there.
Thanks.
So we came in partly through your explanation. So what's happening in this?
Okay, so the pieces I